Hey YouTubers, and welcome to Bevan's Builds. This is my new channel where I'm going to be discussing and building different things, but I'm also going to be giving tips and tricks and things that you should keep aware of when it comes to, well, in this particular example it's a go-kart, but it will apply to garden tractors and such as that nature. But my point of today's video is going to be discussing the importance of keeping good fuel in anything that requires gasoline to run. Anyway, for today's video, this was my go-kart that I built quite a few years ago for my kids to drive around, and it wasn't running. Now, I actually had two problems, and I probably should have shown both of those problems, but what it was is the jet in the carburetor was a little plugged up, and I pulled the carburetor off and cleaned it up. But the other issue I had is that it had some bad fuel in it, and I'm going to show you what the difference is between good and bad fuel. Now, how I got all the bad fuel out of this, real quickly, I'm hoping you can see this by me zooming in like so. What it is right here is the nut for the fuel line, and what I did is I disconnected the fuel line from the carburetor and then drained it into a bucket, with which I'm going to show you now. Now, real quickly, here is what the gasoline looked like that I poured out of that go-kart that I just showed you. And as you can see, to me, it's what I always called it. When the gasoline goes bad, it looks like varnish. And this would be a very good case of what gasoline looks like when it goes bad, because like I said, it does look like varnish. Now I'm going to pour a little bit. This is the only clear container I can find here in my garage. There's a little bit of blue on it. I do some airbrushing and some other things. But anyway, this is the cleanest thing I can find to kind of look at something. So I'm going to put a little bit of gas in this and show you what good gasoline should look like. Now, I didn't want to pour too much into this, but the thing that I want to show you, that's bad gas, and this is good gas. Yes, this is actually gasoline. If I had a thicker or deeper cup, I could show you a little bit better. It doesn't really show up that well in this cup. But good gasoline should have a slight yellow hue to it, but it should still be clear. Whereas you can see, this is definitely not clear. So like I said, today's video is just a quick kind of tip video on how if you have a problem with something that's sat for a long time, you're going to end up with bad gas. And like I said, I just wanted to show you the difference in what you can look for to tell if you have bad gas or if the gas in it's good. Typically a good rule of thumb though, if you've left gas in your lawnmower for a year, you're probably fine. Like if you parked it at the end of the year, we'll say September, at the end of the mowing season, and then you start it back up in the spring, you're generally pretty fine. What I generally like to do though, as a good rule of thumb, is I don't want to have the tank full. I try to get the lawnmower as empty as possible before I park it at the end of the year, or in this case the the go-kart. But the reason I do that is even if the gas does go bad, because this gas is still flammable, it will still spark, it will still flame, but the thing is it won't combust correctly in your motor. So what I typically do now, like with this particular instance, what I'll do is I'll take this gasoline and I will probably use it for making fires. When I have a hard time lighting a fire, I'll dump a little gas on it, or burning stumps, for example. But because you never want to just dump gasoline out into your lawn or anything. That's a bad thing, and you don't want to do that. And I don't know any place that you can even recycle gasoline, but like I said, in this particular situation, I'm going to take it and use it, and I'll just pour it on a little bit of wood before I have a fire when I have something that's wet and fresh. That way it'll get it caught up and get it to good burn. So anyway, that's today's tip from Bevan's Builds. If you get a chance, don't forget I do have a Lego channel as well. If you're into Lego, go ahead and give that a look. I'll be posting a link of that right up here somewhere. And as always, I thank you for coming to Bevan's Builds. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share below, and we'll see you next time on Bevan's Builds.